Hello, welcome to the post-watching a lot of Steven Universe episodes. I'm very emotional right now. Episode of Kirblog. This is a very good question that I got, I think earlier this week from TheApoke, or TheApoke, however you say this. Hey Chris, this question doesn't really involve art or animation, but have you ever gotten bullied in school, or do you have any advice for people getting oppressed? Yes, I was. This is going to be another stream of consciousness Kirblog because I don't have an answer for this question. Rather, the second part of the question as far as advice goes. The reason being is because things have changed very much in the past decade that I've been out of school. I would say the part of school where people get bullied the most. I think that there's definitely bullying that goes on during college years and even after that, just look at the internet with cyberbullying. But as far as like elementary, middle school, and high school era, things have dramatically changed. There are definitely some constants as far as why people get bullied and why people bully others in the first place. But socially, things have shifted a lot. There's different things that are considered to be more accepted or less accepted. Just kind of by our society at large. So I don't fully know. The biggest thing in particular is I have no idea how mobile devices and the internet, that makes me sound like I'm a 50-year-old, but I'm totally serious. Some of this, and I'm not saying this to be like an old man about it, I'm saying because I don't know what that's like now. I have no idea what being a kid in school with everything in the world at your disposal kind of right there in front of you is like. I don't know, and I don't know the finite details. What I do have, and this is going to be the equivalent of my answer, is I have my own experiences. I have my own way of how I dealt with things. I have my story. I'll tell you my story. To start off, I grew up. I'm gonna pull the Tumblr card of. I'm gonna check my privilege here, just at the 2-minute mark. I grew up as a white, heterosexual male kid who was never beaten up. I never got beaten up by a single bully in my life. I got into, some very minute fights, nothing that was ever really serious, nothing ever, too far out of line, just, pretty standard stuff. I was never beaten up. I was extremely lucky. And honestly, the fact that I ever had a mind about like, oh man, life is hard because I get bullied, is ridiculous that I ever had that notion. Not to, compare my problems to the rest of the world's or of different races and genders and sexualities, etc. But that's the fact. The fact of the matter was I was picked on. I was never beaten up. I had it pretty okay. Here's what my whole deal was. The big turning point for me in particular, interestingly enough, was Pokemon. And I know that's going to, people are probably snickering already, and hey, so am I. But Pokemon hit the U.S., I think it was like 97, 98 or so. I took to it, as many kids did at that age. So I would have been about 10, 11 or so. And, so I became, the guy. I became the go-to guy in school, or one of them, when it came to everything relating to the show, the games, the toys, the cards, the everything. In 4th grade, I had a pretty good bit of social standing with everybody in the school. People who were younger than I was, some people who were older than I was that, treated me okay. The reason was because not only was I, like the source of all knowledge when it came to Pokemon stuff, but also I ran basically a school-wide RP of everybody having imaginary Pokemon and me overseeing how battles would go. And, because kids played pretend Pokemon, and I'm sure they probably still do to different extents, if they're not just actually playing the games. But, so that was something that, at least as far as I was understanding, kept me on pretty good graces with everybody around me. This did not last because I went too far with it. I became, again, as many kids do, I was already obsessed with video games, and I became overly obsessed with Pokemon for that, those couple of years. 1999 hit, and all that went away really, really quickly. And I do wonder and look back, and this is very possible, that, a lot of it was toleration Now, what I mean by toleration is I think it was a combination of, here's something that everybody can connect on because this is currently taken over the world and it's the most popular thing like ever right now was Pokemon. Combined with, this kid is probably really like sad and doesn't have any actual friends. Let's all, be his friends and work together with them and then just make him not feel like garbage or whatever. I don't know that for sure. Maybe I'll never have that answer, and there probably isn't a clear-cut answer to it anyway. But the point is, it went away in 1999, which for many years was what I considered to be the worst year of my life because that was the year of me getting constantly picked on by everybody. It was also the year, although, that I made two very, very, very close friends that still inspire me to this day, one of which is Mike Lucas. It was a very, very important friendship that I had that really helped, keep me going through a time that was very difficult and prepped me for what I consider to be. I think middle school personally is at least, and I don't know. I don't know what it's like now, but I feel like middle school is probably the worst of the particular time that kids have to go through as far as grade school goes. Because high school, it's like, by that point, usually you find your clique, even though you still have issues to deal with. And like elementary school, you're not even cognizant practically. You're just kind of like, whatever, I like video games and drawing, I guess, or at least I was. Middle school is that point in time where everybody is an arrogant prick, It doesn't matter who you are or what you are or whatever. It's like just everybody thinks that like, yeah, I'm invincible or whatever. And like, yeah, like whatever, fuck everybody and fuck everything. I just like what I like and that's it. Like it's just as black and white as that for people. And I think that because of that attitude from everybody collectively, bullying is the most potent in terms of like it hits the hardest and it, and it is the most effective, like for people who are bullied and who do bullying. Respectively. I'm speaking English good today. So middle school in particular was, I think, the most rough part of that for me. Because, what I had branded myself as because of that solid year and a half to 2 years, continuing onward was I was not only the Pokemon obsessed kid, I was the loud, obnoxious, rambunctious, bombastic, overly obsessive, annoying as shit Pokemon kid. That's what I was, and that's what I was forever branded as by most people, and I had to live with that. And I had a really nasty temper in middle school in particular, and I would say probably early high school as well. I think it kind of carried over, and then I would see the counselors a lot, and I'd try to get people reported for picking on me and for doing this and that and bothering me or whatever, and nothing ever worked because they find new ways. And it's it's that same sort of maybe I talked about this like ages ago on that one about like the internet and privacy, about trolling and people, but trolling and getting a rise out of people is they tell you that, but you're just like, but I don't care. It's like, no, they're just trying to get a rise out of you. That's all they want. Yeah, that is all they want. That's what it comes from, because there's this natural human instinct of like, when you're seeing something that you consider to be bad in your mind, suffering, there's a part of you that's like, oh, I'm enjoying this because it's karma. For the people who picked on me, it was, oh, this person who was annoying the piss out of me on a constant basis is feeling bad because of something that I'm doing to make them feel bad. And therefore that makes me feel good, So, and that's not to victimize myself. If anything, in a way, it's almost villainizing myself, because it's like the stuff that I did, maybe I was deserving of it. Maybe I was too ridiculous and obnoxious or whatever. That's me trying to be objective here. I had to adjust. And thankfully, I had my group of friends, and I had my places of solitude and my sense of safetyness in what it is that I love to do. I eventually started meeting people over the internet. That was kind of the dawn of the whole TV Tome thing. Mike Lucas had moved away for a few years, and et cetera. You probably all know that story already. But it still pursued. It still persisted, I should say. Over the course of many years after that, like just still, I'd have people screaming, Pikachu or whatever at me in the hallways, inadvertently. Again, nothing ever serious. In retrospect, it was like, who gives a shit? It was completely nothing. I never got beaten up. I was never shoved into lockers or, or tortured or anything like that at all. I had it really easy. The worst that would come of it was that I would have like teacher aides following me around to make sure that I wasn't doing anything, too out of line, or like, I'd get in trouble or whatever, detention, just like basic shit like that. It wasn't anything like really that like, oh no, I'm so fucked up in the head. Oh, wah, poor me, life is hard or whatever. It's nothing like that. But nonetheless, it was something that was bothering me a lot, and it was, making me lose focus and making me upset at the time. So I had to find eventually some way to deal with it. And I did. And this is, again, why this is not my advice. This is just what I did. This was my story. This is what I had to eventually do. I think that the real general answer that you have to go with is you have to just, if there is an answer to how to deal with bullying, is you have to just not care. Because as soon as you stop caring, even if they can, it's not going to necessarily get them to stop. They're probably going to keep doing it. But the point is, if you don't care, then it doesn't matter. But getting to that point is extremely difficult, because when, you're a kid or a teenager or whatever, anything around that age range, the fact of the matter is you're going to care. You're going to care about what people think of you. You're going to care about what people say to you, more often than not. If you don't at an early age, then good on you. You're a smart motherfucker. The trick is getting to that point where you can feel like, you know what, this is irrelevant to me, and part of that is figuring out who you are. And that was what I did. By the time that I got to my last couple of years of high school, I realized exactly what it was that I wanted to do. By that point, I had been doing, a lot of Flash animation. I want to say, I think I might have started on Parody Rangers by like maybe the end. No, I think that was the last year of high school is when I started on that. But either way, I was being creative. I was finding my real calling of like, I'm getting the chance to tell the stories that I've been, concocting since I was a kid, and make them into something that is a reality. I finally can do that now. That was the thing that helped me, achieve a sense of self-worth and finally, realizing like, okay, this is who Chris Niosi is. I've got it. I've got a hold on Chris Niosi. I'm good. Then that made all of the other shit that happened in high school completely irrelevant. It was all just like, okay, I'm just filling the status quo. I'm doing what is expected of me. I'm finishing, grade school and getting my diploma and then going to college to pursue what it is that I actually care about, which I did. And college was fantastic, and I had a great time and a great experience there. But what it is that I had to do, and again, this is why this is not my advice. This was my route. For the third and final time, I'll say that, was I took a superiority complex. Something along the lines of I'd be in class and I'd have the same, couple people still aggravating me and doing stupid shit to me for whatever reason, just to rile me up. And I, just wouldn't react. And I wouldn't react because I would have this, thought kind of just blanketed in my brain of like, they're going to be flipping your burgers. That's about as much as they're going to amount to. And you're going to go off and you're going to be actually making something of yourself, and you're going to be happy, and you're going to be doing all these things that you've set out to do. And, what are they going to do? They're going to be probably working at a McDonald's. Now, that's not true. I would wager good money it's probably not true. I would say that probably most of, if not all of those people, are probably all living totally normal lives with real jobs and being fine. Nothing necessarily out of the ordinary or whatever. They're probably all fine. Whether or not they're doing the same thing that is making them happy, like it is, with the stuff that I do, I don't know. I have no fucking idea, and quite frankly, I don't care. But I'm saying this here just for musing's sake, and also because it's like, yeah, like you don't know that for sure. At the time, I just kind of convinced myself of that, and that was how I took the superiority complex. Is I was like, oh, these people are nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. They're gonna amount to nothing, and you will amount to something, and you can just comfort yourself with that, and you can just go on with the rest of everything, and then you'll be done, and then you can move on with your life, and then you'll never have to think of these people again until a decade later when you're doing a vlog about it on YouTube. Yeah, so that was what I did. Not a solution that I would suggest or advise. It's just what I did. I don't know if other people have done that before. It's very possible. I think kids have superiority complexes about things in general. So maybe people are already doing that. And I'm sure plenty others have before and after me anyway, without this video even being a thing that exists. So, So yeah, I guess in a way that, That is my answer. That is my solution. Finding a sense of self-worth and really owning what it is that you want to do, who you want to be, how you're going to go about it, and keeping your eyes on the prize. My staying focused on that, and I was always pretty focused. I think I had a pretty early handle on what it is that I wanted to do from a basic kind of idea. Is like, I want to be a storyteller. I want to make stuff. I want to make stories, whether it's through comics, books, animation, video games, whatever. That was my guidance. And again, I was lucky to have friends, to help. Not only that, I mean, they were tied directly to my work. As I've often said, most of, if not all of my characters are based on real people, most of the time friends. There are many characters who are based on people I don't like. There are some characters based on people who I consider to be bullies, as a matter of fact. To different extents and definitely extrapolated and fucked around with. But, my friends being tied directly into what it was that was my purpose, I think also helped because that made a nice support system that I kind of laid back on and was like, okay, cool, I'm happy with this, So that's it. That's really the best way that I can answer this. I am not a be-all, end-all authority on any of this because, again, I was very privileged, and in retrospect, I was super lucky. I did not have it nearly as bad as anybody who was truly, abusively bullied by people. I was picked on. I was not bullied. I was picked on. I think that's what I can surmise it to. But I know the same kind of sensation of oh, I'm weird. I'm different. I'm this person, and a lot of people don't really like that, and it's bothering them. So they're going to deal with it by making me feel worthless. Or by annoying me and then them feeling good because they're doing that. I reiterated this already, but yeah, that's it. You have to, once you have the bigger scope of why this stuff happens and you can kind of pick it apart, you can just be like, oh, okay, well then if that's how the rules are, then I just, kind of, I play by the rules or go outside the rules or whatever, method I can do to make this as, painless as possible. And then I can move on through life, and then eventually people grow up, and they're just like, this is dumb. Who gives a shit? Nobody has time or energy for this anymore, So that's about it. That's about all I can say. So I guess in the comments below, and I'm very, very interested on what these will be like. Let me know what your experiences are like, and how you're dealing with it, or how you dealt with it if you're over it. I'm very curious about, what this was like for anybody and everybody and their experiences with being bullied and being picked on. Or, were you a bully? Why did you bully people? And how did you get to the point of eventually stopping, hopefully? Or maybe why do you continue to do so now? I'm curious for all sorts of answers on this one. So let me know. Leave a comment about that. And if you have a future idea for a Kirblog topic, let me know in a comment on that too. Or you can hit me up on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, whatever you feel like. I'll always be around. And that'll do it. So thank you all very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.